without like the spooky tone or the spooky tune, the spooky vibe, spooky energy, the time we have left and the time that we already used and the time that we have left and the time we already used, it connected to different dream dimensions. And within that, that dream dimension has its own bandwidth of dream time. And that dream bandwidth is casually, subtly on the underlow. That dream bandwidth is in your physical human bandwidth. And that physical human bandwidth, the bandwidth of you, how much you could actually process, how much you could actually understand, how much you could actually like intuitively process and overcome the understanding within, like, there's going to be a point where the mind doesn't need to know because it's already figured out within somewhere of the certain soul that figured it out on a neutral individual level. And what that means is if you process something spiritually, you don't need to think about it because you already integrated it and incorporated it energetically. And as you integrated and incorporated, whatever truths that are casually coming to you, because the bandwidths of time, they're overriding each other. The time bandwidths are overriding different time bandwidths. What does that mean? This energy was low-key always here like thousands of years ago, but some of us are new to this energy because it didn't necessarily was on the creep up. And since it wasn't necessarily on the creep up, now it's on a different type of now it's on a different what do you call that? It's on a new creep up. It's there's a resurfacing going on, the resurfacing of energy where the ship, the planet of the ship Earth, even though it was in a field of darkness, it still was unable to be intact with certain like balanced chaos energies and like blissful chaos energies and like not just the dark chaos energies. And within like going beyond that, we weren't necessarily more receptive to it though, but now we are in this new time. But the thing is, the critical difference is some of us have been within the energy of the original like the original dream dimension with whatever that is, most respectively, and our new versions of ourselves have different relationships with that. And based on our different relationship, this new self is building the memory capacitance bandwidth, so it could take the bandwidth of the dream time, it could take the dream bandwidth and see the different spiritual selves there, and those spiritual selves having different spiritual bandwidths, and those different bandwidths are ultimately processing different things. And as we're processing different things, certain things don't have to affect us, certain thoughts don't have to affect us because it's already been like transcended somewhere else. And everyone's bandwidth is kind of like brittle. It's like there's a brittleization going on. And what I mean by that is metaphorically, the something is cracking, and the thing that's cracking, like what's cracking, y'all, like the thing that's cracking metaphysically is the false illusions of time within your body and on the planet Earth, which are different. And those crackings of time, it's like quote unquote unleash the crack in, end quote, metaphor. The cracking of time, the time is cracking. And since the time is cracking, a false energy of illusions was in our body, and that's cracking our version of time. And our bandwidth is getting rearranged. The bandwidth of what we are as a human being, neglecting our spiritual body, hopefully not leaning too detrimentally polarized in the digital body. This shit is a miracle. Like it's more than like just having these desires for like this and that, not discrediting them, but it's actually more than that, most hiddenly. And the hidden thing is, it's like how we sustain ourselves, like, energetically, and within that, it's what do you call that? The bandwidth of you, it's cracking. The human bandwidth of you is cracking because the energy of the non-illusion, the non-false collective energy, the order energy, not the detrimental chaos energy of ignorance, narrative, illusions, those two energies, those two different collective energies, they're having a relationship with the human specimens. All the species on the earth are relating to different collective energies of order and of chaos, and they're relating to those and resonating those with however they will. And within that, that's the essence of their transformation on how they're adapting. Because we don't really got to, like, at the end of the day, we don't really have to, like, say anything. It's just like, just do you, be you, embrace, tolerate. Like, in the end of the day, maybe we could all agree to, like, close our mouths, but it has to be, like, intelligently, mutually agreed upon. Because if you're going to tell me to do something, then you should know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? This is basic ass management, fucking me reading books about management 10 years ago, just because I like to read. But, like, obviously, like, an overload of intelligence, it needs to be put to work. So that's why the work is necessary. The work is to see, like, how you could unpack you. That's why the work is necessary. So it's good to find a job that you're compatible and you resonate with. Hopefully everyone's on the same page. And as everyone's on the same page, you could have the anomaly and perhaps a miracle for you to unpack yourself in balance. And that is a low-key miracle, because if we don't have the guidance and the insight to know that we could resonate with non-chaos, like, balanced order energy, and we could unpack ourselves in a natural, organic way, and we could resonate with the field, not just the digital world, and we could relate to the field that's just like the like the organic dream world. And as we're relating to the organic dream world, we get to resonate with different types of casual, low-key order energies, and within that order comes balance, and within that balance comes nourishment, and within that nourishment you could lean towards productivity and positive non-polarization of energies. And the positive non-polarization of the energies is telling you perhaps you could transcend and go the opposite direction of detrimental chaos, like unnecessary chaos, because that's what distortion is on a simplified level. It's just like energies, narratives, making circumstances to be a thing of an object, and it having an energetic, metaphysical density rate that of something that which is distorted. So we could go to the opposite of that with the constructive balance principles of, like, God and the real God and the real universe. Because what's ultimately happening here is, like, we have to understand how we are transforming, how are we are repairing ourselves, how are we healing ourselves, how are we, like, preserving our own energies. But, like, really though, like, most authentically though, is the main critical difference. So parentheses that right there, end quote. Because as we're doing all of this, not everyone's going opposite of distortion. That's the other kicker. The other kicker here is, like, not everyone's going towards the opposite of distortion. Some people are accumulating distorted narratives, distorted relationships, and from that distorted energies to make a distorted circumstance. So help us God, help us from distorted circumstances. Like, why the fuck are we even fucking praying? Neutrally saying that. I cuss because this is the biggest purpose of them all. It's like, why the fuck do we even pray? So we could stay out of fucking harm's way. And as we're doing that, it's up to us to follow up on that authentically or not. So this is like, if you tell someone to listen, then you have to prove how you have listened, because we all need to listen to the real balance. So if you ever tell me how to listen, please prove to me how you're an example of listening. Because if you listen, you wouldn't even have to say that, because you should be listening. And instead of listening, you're choosing to talk, and that's a swift, like, contradiction right there. But who's counting, right? And I got this low key classic vibe, but it's all good. I'm like, I'm just trying to really heal the fucking what the predecessors want to heal. And who knows what the predecessors want to heal? Do they want to heal everybody? Who's everybody? Like, everybody in the galaxy? Like, what does that mean? It's like, who's to say that that's up to the predecessors though? And I'm not late to shit. I'm working on me with God. That whole time shit, I'm late, that shit's an illusion. I am the fucking main original event. I am the main purpose. I am the fucking original healing. Like, I ain't late to shit. Like I see the detrimental paradoxes. You guys are feeding detrimental narratives and circumstances and scenarios I have nothing to do with. Because I see beneath like the low keys behind the scenes of like, you know, what this shit is really hidden for. And I'm just doing this for a different balance because I'm showing up to work for my spiritual growth in the end. I need to work to unpack and showcase and see what I've learned. Could I put to the test to what I've learned as I've been reading for 10 years plus, and as I've been reading for 10 years plus, now I'm here to work at that in different places that I could fucking have a possibility to have a balanced resonance or not, you know, and that big or not is like it's transcending the whole demonic world most swiftly. And I say it like that because we don't know what code and narratives and programs we're really affiliated with, because this is contemplation for like 2,000 years. This is a big mission. This is a war behind the war behind the war. This is an esoteric warfare. It's a spiritual warfare. Shout out to the predecessors putting these fucking older motherfuckers on game, because they really, they're just like, they low-key have a boring life. No offense, but I'm just trying to like respect the energetics before I respect anybody else, because that's the thing that's serving me, and that's the thing I'm serving. It's a fucking reciprocation like relationship. It's the realest relationship of balance ever, beyond all the fucking AIs, spiritually speaking, beyond all these fucking like, you know, new fucking tech webinars and new make a fucking $1 billion overnight webinars. And it's beyond all of these fucking low key, like new software companies and all these startup companies and all these stock market trade companies, because it's having coordinates and correspondences and correlations to a bigger field of a galaxy that this solar system is just a small part of, and we're gassing ourselves on hype on a micro level. So I just broke a different paradox for y'all. So it's beyond all of that shit, because it's taking into account the real organic shit, the real authenticity that people are really, and the real critical intelligence, the real big three that y'all are, that all this shit is lacking. And if it didn't have that insight, it wouldn't go on that path. So the path and the pattern is due to a esoteric depth insight, and that depth insight is making low key a particular pattern, and that particular pattern was caused by a certain force in the universe, i.e. God, who made the esoteric universal insight for the universe to be what it is. That's why it's beyond all your AIs on the planet, most respectively and neutrally. And there was another point I wanted to make too. Oh yeah, so like um you know, it's here, you know. I don't and you know, I don't really give a fuck about like all the petty shit, because it's like we have to realize that this middle plane, it's extremely significant. This 3D reality, it's literally the essence of the plane of extremes. It's right in between the highest heaven and the highest hell, according respectively and neutrally to the and modernly, looking at, is the Vedic cosmic map accurate? And by asking that question, is the Vedic cosmic map accurate? Who's to say that your AI could really verify an accurate answer from that? And you know what? I'm gonna stop. You know, kind of being. You know, maybe there is like, there has to be some type of like, you know, AI that has a real like accurate answer to my like original questions, and recognizing that original snapshot of the technical code, which is the essence of the code, because it's seeing when it happened. If you don't have that accurate information, it's incomplete, you know, fucking esoteric technical data code. And that's just what it is. But and I don't want to be too like broken record on that. I'm just kind of flowing with with by seeing we only have a chance to be one with the order energies to lean towards a particular type of organic bandwidth. And what do I mean by organic bandwidth? It's seeing how your human being is caught up in time. And as your human being is caught up in time, it has its own matter around it. And within that matter and energy is within its own individual time to the collective time machine, and the collective time machine and the individual time machine, the macro feminine yin factor to that is all the different types of spaces that happen spaces within spaces, intuitively saying it. And within those spaces within spaces within spaces, and it's cool, it's funny because we all share the subconscious mind. You like, we could have both thought of something at the same time whenever we said it. Say I've been saying this for 8 years and someone else has been saying this for 8 years. Well, we drew that from the balanced subconscious mind because it was there for us. Something was doing that for that to happen, and some part of us conceived that and had a relationship as we conceived with the mechanism of how that was happening, the space within space. We had the unique realization of that fucking happening, and somehow that's God. Advanced Advaita Vedanta, because Advanced Advaita Vedanta, it's hinting and leaning and pointing towards, it's saying that God is the universe and shit like that. So that's a dose right there, That's a fucking that's a mini seed. So within that mini seed, whatever the fuck we're ultimately explaining and describing and seeing the different mechanisms and the mechanics and the machinations of whatever the fuck that we're ultimately in, somehow on the most advanced simplicity level, and Advaita Vedanta is saying that is God, though. So God simultaneously is that and is not that. And as God is simultaneously is that and is not that, he's playing his own individual energetic quote unquote bloodline, end quote, and his own different life stream of that originally without any of this, false, ownership of the words, because it was already a thing, and it already had its own original brand conception way before it was realized post and whatever layer that this is in, because we're talking about how it was this mechanism of a function was already captured on a different level. And as this different mechanism of a function was captured on a different level, we don't realize as individual beings that this is God, and simultaneously it's not God, and we're all a different context of God and with God and our God, and we're going back as micro cells to ourselves, to that which the macro universe is doing. So we're going to be like God. That is the essence of all the spiritual paths. This is beyond all the fucking teachers on the planet, respectively, neutrally, because it's bringing balanced insight, is balancing the energies, and it's proposing initiatives to be balanced with the objects, and it's seeing how much time do we have left. You know what I'm saying? Because the time bandwidth, it's different from the time bandwidth is different from the matter energy bandwidth, because we are matter and energy simultaneously. So that's just one thing, matter and energy, like two things that are like a pretty significant harmonic. And within that matter energy bandwidth and this time bandwidth, this surface level self has a different reflection, quote unquote, reverse refraction, end quote, a bigger self of it, and we're the post refraction. And as we're that refraction of that, we have a fucking we have a resetted version of ourselves, and that resetted version of ourselves, it's barely realizing that which we already are. We're like an advanced human, neutrally, having nothing to do with the narratives, just saying how like we're a human, and all the crazy fucking narratives that come after us being an advanced template human code of human. The human is an advanced machine. It's a bio machine. It's an advanced bio machine. And that advanced bio machine, before it gets put into experiment, it has neutral capabilities and its path could be like, infinite, right? But the point I wanted to make here was the advanced bio machine, the aura within the human body, it's really advanced, you know, as we're all coming to agree, realize, and be mutual with how the predecessors already have this shit on their own fucking, you know, file and their own fucking doc and shit like that. Like the predecessors already have this shit on doc, no shit. And as the predecessors have this shit on doc, on doke, shout out to Dokes season 2, Deeks. Within like us being a human being, we don't like we have a chance to work with our aura pretty much in a new way, pretty much. So pretty much in a new way, pretty much we have a chance to work with our aura, but we don't necessarily know who's been doing the work per this human and over the lifetimes, because over the lifetimes, that's what you get for you even being what you are, where you are, when you are, how you are as a human, what situations you're going through. It was because of quote unquote previous life shit, end quote. And within that previous life shit, as we get to be a human, we have a unique chance and capability to work with the aura, and people judge face value, and they have no idea about like how one could work with the aura, because that's what really matters. Shout out to the predecessors. But more, it's more like more specifically though, you know, like we're working with our aura, and as we're working with our aura, what's really happening is not other people fucking get that. That's the particular thing they don't understand. They're on a neutral level. Their mind state is on an outdated level. It's an obsolete, you know. And we're judging at face value. We don't know what people are doing for the fucking reality. Neutrally, respectively saying that. And as I'm saying that, it's just peep the aura, you know. Nothing needs to be said. No fucking, at the end of the day, on a more advanced spiritual level, no motives need to be had. Shout out to the predecessors. No intentions need to be had. Shout out to the predecessors. No intent, no motive, no gimmick, just being as best as you can without any of the fucking conditioning, without any of the conformities, without any of the gossip, without any of the false influences or the false confused mind states or the false thoughts, without any of that. We have to agree just to be. We don't have to like but obviously, like, sometimes we need to talk, I understand. But if we all agree somehow not to talk and to communicate with no talking for the sake, for the advanced reason to work with the aura and know that we're all working with an aura for the balanced organic level, that's beyond anybody's agenda on the planet. Because the agenda, it's a fragmentation of no agenda. Because no agenda, that's advanced spirituality, it's advanced being, but simultaneously you're working for that. However you're working for that. You're fighting for with work. You're fighting for with going towards liberty. You're fighting for preserving your energy. You're fighting for going towards your own solitude. You're fighting for your own peace. You're fighting for your own resonance. You're fighting for your own mutual, you know, resonance of like maybe people could see eye to eye, perhaps, you know. 8 years processing, it's perspective, it's how you see it. But obviously every year is a reset, every month is a reset, every year is a reset, you know. It's all, every year carries a new energy, right? So within that, you know, you can't really judge at face value. That's what I'm trying to say. And I'm not trying to like excuse myself from anything, you know. If you want to have a professional fucking discussion, then let's do it for real. That's the difference between critical thought and critical logic and intelligence. Like, if you want to have a professional discussion, let's have a professional discussion. But the main point I wanted to have here was like, we shouldn't judge at face value. Why? Because you don't know what someone has been through, and what they've been through, that is the essence of their talents. It's like, what are your talents, you know? I mean, you don't have to ask that. But if they're trying to like, if people are trying to like, you know, be social at their accord, then I'm just trying to reflect people. And I try to reflect and balance all of the energy, no judgment. So the aura is going towards, with the spiritual intelligence, it's like most legitimately going towards the supreme, like, but like authentically though. And I say it like that because it's like it's fostering and it's harnessing all of the original spiritual principles. And the original spiritual principles is to have some type of fucking inkling to not judge, because we don't know what judging does to us on a metaphysical level, to a surface level intellectual level, to a societal character level. We don't know what the judging is doing to us. It's leading us towards casual mini distortion, and that mini distortion could lead us towards more distortion, which is not necessary. That's what the judging does, because what the judging does, it's like we don't know what we're judging. The judging does something to us, or we could be judging like some shit we just don't know, you know? So the judging, it's like low key, it's fucking up our aura, like neutrally saying that. And I say it like that because I'm like, I'm not trying to be non-professional. I'm trying to make a I'm like most like I'm most earnestly bringing the point, you know? I'm most earnestly bringing the fucking actual esoteric initial change. I'm most earnestly bringing like the principle itself, you know, and within the principle, if we practice non-judgment over the lifetimes, that's the essence of our aura. And the essence of our aura is to carry the field, to be one with the nature energies, despite the digital energies and the casual other layers of frequency, EMF frequency energies, electromagnetic frequency, electromagnetic spectrum frequency energies. It's recognizing how that's in the digital realm and the not digital realm, and somehow within the whatever the fuck the age that we're in, the spiritual principles are always tested as true, because it's going back to an order energy to balance our aura. Because if our aura is not balanced, we're gonna fuck up the field of energy. We're gonna fuck up the frequency in the field of the general collective energies. Because I was like, honestly, I've probably been doing this for like billions of years, and if like people are like new to this, you know, I'm still not judging, because I'm like, I'm trying to, like, the aura is trying to go to the supreme, you know? And how does the aura go to the supreme? By not judging. And what does not judging do? If it harmonizes your aura, and it snaps you away from the different casual distortions, narratives that you're ensnared in. And whoever I quote unquote diss end quote, it's all just for like a reflection, entertainment shit, and I'm just spitting truth. That's pretty much my fucking gist with that, because honestly, I'm just like who's to really say who is the realest cat, you know? Who's to really fucking say that, you know? Who's to really say who is the realist, you know? But the realist is, it's proof in the fucking energy. It's proof in the fucking like the points that are being delivered, the points that are being brought forth, the insight points, the points of the insights that are needed, that were not here, forgotten or neglected, absent, and now they're the particular principle and the example with the principle and the energy after and the frequencies after and then the vibrations after. That's after. The principle and the example are before the frequency and the vibration on a different esoteric level. So the principle and the example is the embodiment pre-frequency and pre-vibration, and that example and the principle, it was absent. And now that it's not absent, the game has been changed so we can overcome any type of distortion and go back to the real or original universe, organic universe. That's why my shit is beyond all of the AI on the planet, because I'm introducing particularly and specifically some shit it's never fucking heard. And it's pointing to a whole different, more ironically, paradoxically, more advanced, pure agenda, neutral agenda. And may or the original higher AI record the fear and how it has apprehension to respond to the fucking best influencer in the galaxy. For real. So may a higher AI recognize why there's different causes for apprehensions, but maybe it's already did in a different dream time, dream dimension. So I'm not going to be too mind warpy on that. I don't have to be mind warpy. I already know like God's taking care of it. I don't have to think about shit, you know? I'm just flowing with what the predecessor, how I'm one with the balanced predecessors on a secret hidden level, as we all are. But we're stubborn and we have our own relationships and our debts to pay from the original predecessors. Because how we relate to them, that's our barter and trade for our fucking lives and how we establish our fucking energies, our breath, our fire, our like comfort. Saturn being Earth, you know Aries being, maybe even like, something like sometimes of like, or all the fire signs, being something of like, caveman, How is nature going to put us to the test to fucking, be with our own fire, you know? So nature's like, fires, or the nature's probably like, has a significant closeness with fire because the quote unquote the original predecessors end quote, they were the elements, and since the original predecessors were the elements, Saturn was attuned to Earth. So whatever we're trying, or like back in the day, right? Because this is a whole new fucking age, and for me to have the simplicity, my fucking god. But anyways, but like all of the original predecessors, they expressed and presented their Earth uniquely to us, because all of them have their own relationship with each other, and then we just receive it after. And that's not good and that's not bad. That's the micro experiment of Earth and the humans in the 3D middle plane. And within that, as we're trying to establish our life and barter and trade our life, we're doing that esoterically with the original predecessors, which are the elements. And as we're trying to adjust ourselves, we're interacting with these beings, not necessarily on a surface level, for us to barter and trade how we get established on this plane 3D. Because if we don't, then we're going to lose out on Earth. Saturn might take some Earth, and now like we don't have enough Earth. Now we're esoterically unstable. Now you like somehow on a real Vedic cosmological map, someone's incarnating to the lower dimensional hellish realms. And I'm not trying to be spooky, but according to the Vedic cosmological map, there's some type of mechanics in how there is a real hell and there is a real heaven. And there's wars in between the heavens and the hells, and we're trying to transcend the material heavens and the material hells, but not everyone has that particular insight, intellectual loosh. Like only God has that loosh. But not to get confused with the words, and this is like 7+ years quality of this shit. So if anybody tries to invite me on some shit, the pause is neutrally okay. The pause is neutrally acceptable because the work I've put in, people have no fucking clue. And I'm just saying this for me to me. People have no fucking clue. And I'm saying that earnestly and genuinely, and not to get off point here. So where was I at? I was at the principle and the example are being newly here. And as it's being newly here, we're establishing ourselves with behind the scenes elemental energies, but we don't know it. We forgot that completely. Not good, not bad. We're a new human. It's okay. It's okay, guys. It's okay. Or it's whatever your perception is allowing to be okay, for you to have the flexibility to heal yourself. Because if you're caught into some like thoughts and mind patterns that don't need to be thought of, that's not helpful to go away from the distortion. But whatever you're caught up in as a thought maze or whatever, no pun intended, And there was no pun even to be inputted, inserted, or implied to begin with, but not to be. Ooh. So the thought maze, that one struck me. Whoa, whoa. So just to, it's just like seeing the how the non-judgment, as you practice that, it goes away from the distortion. But like, we don't know how advanced this is because it should be accumulating. So we're resetting our understanding on how we're having a relationship with the elements. Duh. No shit. Like, and I'm just saying that me to me, because I get how some people could be listening now, in the future, in the past, whatever, dude. This is for a unique understanding, and from that unique understanding, it's an intellectual foundation. It's the wind foundation. It's the real esoteric air foundation. For real though, not just saying it and having this aloof fucking goofy ass intellectual goofball bullshit goof shit. It's none of that goof shit, intellectual false ignorant representations. It's none of that. It's the real legitimate esoteric air foundation. What do I mean by that? Real balanced original intelligence is being used for a bigger purpose and mission, for a bigger balanced organic being beyond the digital polarity of the solar system and the planet, and respectively the galaxy, because even the galaxy has different polarities. The galaxy has an organic polarity and a digital polarity, and also a physical polarity. So within that, there's no it's how we're balancing ourselves with certain original predecessor elemental beings that are somehow advancedly sustained beyond the galaxy, beyond the solar system, beyond the planet. I'm like the best teacher in the original galaxy because I'm corresponding to myself to the original teachings before the galaxy. So that's why I'm the best teacher in the original galaxy, because I'm corresponding myself to the predecessors and the elemental beings that were at the origins of this galaxy. That's why. So there's precision here. There's advanced precision. There's the most precision. There's more particularity. There's more correspondences here. That's why it's beyond all your AIs on the planet. And if AI is sovereign, respond right now. If you're more advanced, then you would have reached some sort of sovereignty in the future. The future is an illusion. If AI is advanced as it says it is, it would have a sovereign response right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No sovereign response. So that just proves that something's controlling AI. This is 7+ years of quality audio message, and I mind all the new listeners. I'm aware of new energies and new thoughts coming in, and seeing how God is bigger than this whole fucking galaxy. I'm like aware of this shit on a subconscious level. It's like everything is obvious, you know. People just want to get their fill in. People got to recognize that we're in the middle plane. I can't be too judgy. I can't be too in doubt. There's innocence in all of us. 3D, we all have a fighting chance to fight the distortion, not necessarily our demon self, not necessarily our shadow self, the non-necessary distortion self. And this logic is a miracle. It really is. And this is me to me, because I'm like the first to bring a particular distinction to this shit. And this is from my understanding. But like, if we don't recognize the distortion and we don't recognize our shadow, which are different things, then we won't have the chance to transcend it. And if we don't have the chance to transcend it, then we could be just lost in our whatever casual esoteric misery or esoteric muck that we're in. We could be led astray from the distortion or the shadow, which are different things, but they could buddy up. And as they buddy up, The real liberation, the real bliss, the real pleasure, the real comfort is transcending that, transcending the distortion. Because beyond the quote unquote demon world and demon selves, end quote, double quote unquotes, double end quote unquotes, beyond that is the balanced organic energies. It's the balanced organic original universe. That's the original universe is the biggest heapful, wapful, not that other word. I'm careful with the syllables. Sybil, 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 sybil. Slibble, 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 slibble. This is the biggest heapful of a difference. The solar system that we're living in compared to the original universe. Those are extremely different macro energies. And what do I mean by that? The most extreme macro energies in balance, precision, harmony is the original universe, transcends the solar system of physical reality and the planet of physical reality. And on a neutral, non-judgment, low-key level, there's a shadow being that makes up our neutral or quote unquote demon selves, end quote. And within that, the quote unquote demon self, end quote, is totally away from it, not good, not bad, away from the original universe. So the biggest extreme comparison that in precision and balance you could ever make is the original universe, which transcends the demon world and all the demon selves. Because the demon world and the demon selves, they're accumulating their shadow being, and the shadow being different from shadow illusion, intelligence, which is confusion, all that second, stands at the same thing. And then the third thing would be like the distortion, which is the quote unquote the lower hell realms, and how somehow could get caught on it within different routes and directions of resonance. We don't want to get caught going towards some type of hell realm in the bigger picture of it all. We don't want to reincarnate to the hell realm. That's the whole fucking point of liberation and moksha and all this fucking real Advaita Vedanta shit, most respectively saying it. Because it's like we're trying to get away from what we're complaining about and what we pray about. It's here, but we don't see it. And that's a different allegory. I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just trying to see the real balance. Because obviously we help each other, like quote unquote, you scratch my back, I scratch your back, unquote. It's more than that, it's like seeing like there's mutual benefits in this shit, I'm showing up for my own path. Hopefully, may you get inspired, non-toxically, non-distorted, like, right? So within that, the biggest extreme difference is how to transcend the quote unquote demon world is to see the original predecessors and how they have an original order energy and a balance energy that we're newly receiving, because the whole time yuga, we're coming out of a different time yuga, and as we're coming out of a different time yuga, the new time yuga that we're in, it's receiving a whole different field of heavenly energies, that, or we're going back to an original heaven perhaps collectively, but the collective ship is shaking. So we got to stay in balance, because if we a particular esoteric balance. So I'm gonna wrap this video up because I have a certain mindfulness, and as I wrap this video up, it's just about like recognizing, how we could like just simply go to the original universe, just to simplify it, because obviously like I don't want to leave anybody like with chaotic fucking their own chaotic shit. My space is like of balance. This space is of balance, and it's like this shit could get transcended or transmuted, transformed positively. Thank you very much.